Okay, level check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Running about a minute late, sorry about that. Had a few issues I had to deal with. And we are going to be live here in just a second, everybody. This is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. And let's see here. Let's see, okay. YouTube's up and running. We are up and running on Facebook. And let's go ahead and take a look, first of all, at what radar looks like. Now, there are a couple caveats here. Radar is not necessarily showing steady, heavy rainfall. Oftentimes, when you see that yellow, we talk about, oh, that's moderate rainfall. That is not the case this time because of the particular way this tropical system is working. And again, I will try and explain that to you right here. So what's happening here, you see all this. This is all shower activity. Now, of course, we're the official weather provider for the Reds. The ballpark is right about here on this end. And I've told the Reds just sprinkles. And you would think from seeing all this yellow that there's steady, heavy rain out there. But basically what's happening is the radar beam is tilted upward, so you're seeing here what's going on at cloud level, and because the air beneath the cloud base is so dry, a lot of that is evaporating on the way down, and we get sprinkles out there. Now, for example, how heavily is it raining? Well, from 3:25 till about 6:15, light rain was reported at Falmouth at the Pendleton County Airport there, and they barely got anything. The visibility never dropped below 10 miles. And at CVG, the rain has been falling for a while, and they only reported a trace. Let me see if I can go back here and see what the latest report from CVG is. So they've reported rain off and on since 5:40 it was. And they've only received a trace. What's a trace? A trace of rainfall is not enough to measure. So when you get those sprinkles and you see a little drop here and there on the sidewalk, that's what we would call a trace. The smallest amount we can measure is 1/100th of an inch. And if we take a look at this in more detail, you'll see in just a second, but I've got to push a couple buttons. I've got a few things that are set a little differently than what I normally do. Okay, Ashley was the last one to, and she uses weather too. So there, now we're looking at our camera from Turfway Park. Okay, now right over here is CVG. Notice you don't see any raindrops on the water there on the lake, and you get a little bit of sprinkle activity. It's been falling for a few hours, and you get no measurable rain out of it. All right, where do we go next here? Okay. All right, now let's go. It's 70 degrees out there. The temperature has cooled off a bit. And you can see where off to the north, if you look at this, off to the north of the city, it's pretty clear up that way. The cloud cover's a little bit thicker over here where you see that rainfall, and we'll look at that in more detail coming up here in just a second. And again, 70 degrees at the International Airport. There you see the wide view, and we zoom in. You can see the cloud cover, you can see the rainfall. And take a look at that. You can see it looks like there's quite a bit of rain out there. If we zoom in a little bit more, let me do a box zoom for you here just to show you what it looks like closer up to that area. Okay, and so again, you can see the rain is just missing the ballpark. Ballpark's right here, so there's nothing going on at the ballpark, and the game is being played. You can see the rain over here. You'd think there's a lot of heavy rain there, but they've not reported any measurable rainfall at CVG, which is right here, even though it looks like that. So what's going on is we've got very dry air at the surface. It's trapped behind the Appalachian Mountains. So we had all this dry air move in, stop against the Appalachian Mountains. The tropical system came over the Appalachian Mountains. All that moisture's up at cloud level, and radar is showing it because the beam is tilted upward. And then what you end up with is the rain here falls through the dry air, and most of it evaporates on the way down. Oftentimes in the Great Plains, you don't hear it so much around here, but out in the Great Plains where you can get some very dry air at the surface, you have a forecast they call thunder sprinkles. You'll have a thunderstorm raging. If you're 10,000 feet up in the atmosphere, you'd be in the middle of a tough thunderstorm, but beneath 10,000 feet down to the ground, it's just sprinkles. So the storminess is up here, and that happens every once in a while. Not around here. At least it hasn't, in my experience, ever happened around here when I've been on duty. Okay, so that's what it is. Now, so that, again, everybody needs the rain. If you had a picnic today and you've got a farm pond that's drying up, and somebody would say, oh, your picnic's going to be rained on, you'd say good, because that's how bad the situation is. And remember, every Thursday the drought monitor comes out. The drought monitor will come out this Thursday again, and this rain should have almost no effect on it, and it looks like the dry weather is going to continue for a while. So let's go back to radar. Now we're going to zoom out a little bit, and this is going to be the total precipitation that's fallen in the last 12 hours. And there you see where we got the precipitation. Notice the color scale up at the top. All that pale color, I'm red-green colorblind, so the colors like this drive me crazy, but it's bluish green or greenish blue, whichever you prefer, is much less than an inch of precipitation. And if we go ahead and take a look at it, 0.2 of an inch was reported in the Falmouth area. Not reported, actually that is radar estimated rainfall in the Falmouth area. And we can do a couple others if you want. We can go ahead and okay, let's see. There we go. We can go ahead and check how much has fallen in central Lewis County. And in central Lewis County, 0.2 of an inch. Up here in the northeastern corner of Clinton County, about 0.4 of an inch up there, so a little bit better. Now, I want to caution you about that one. This is radar estimated, and the radar is right here, I should say. And so this is too close to make it accurate. It's probably overestimated it by quite a bit. So radar's not perfect, and when you get too close to the radar, strange things can happen. In this case, that is probably a big overestimate of how much rain has fallen. Okay, so then let's go up as close as we can get to the international airport right there. And I think it says 0.2 of an inch also, but that seems to be an overestimate because they still haven't reported more than a trace at the international airport. So the key is, we may have settled the dust in a few spots. We haven't come anywhere close to busting the drought, and we need some more rain. Now, this evening there is a lunar eclipse. It's a partial lunar eclipse. And what you've got to remember is that lunar eclipses always occur during a full moon. Okay, solar eclipses always occur during the new moon. Okay, and what happens here is because the Earth orbits the sun when they call the plane of the ecliptic, like this. Okay. Well, the moon orbits the Earth in that same direction, but its orbit is tilted to the orbit of the Earth around the sun. So sometimes when you see a full moon, it's up here. Sometimes when you see the new moon, it's down here. It's when it's right at the same angle, right there at the same level as the plane that the Earth orbits the sun in, is that you get the eclipses, okay? And so always at a full moon, not every full moon, because the full moon can be above the plane or it can be below the plane. Okay, so peaks at 10:44, ends at 11:15. Only 8.5% of the moon is going to be eclipsed, and 8.5% of the disk. Okay, in other words, when we talk about a lunar eclipse and you say 8.5% of it is eclipsed, that means 8.5% of the half that you can see, because you never see the other side. So, really, it's only like 4.25% of the entire moon's surface, but we only count the part that's visible to us. And so 8.5% of it will be eclipsed. You won't see much. It'll be there. And you might not see it at all due to the cloud cover, but there will be some thin spots in the cloud cover. So if you're up in Connorsville and Liberty, if you're in Greensburg or Versailles and Ripley County, you have a better chance of seeing it through some thin cloud cover than we have here in the city or east of here. But every place could see a break or two develop in the cloud cover. So that's the full harvest moon, a partial lunar eclipse. It all comes to an end at 11:15. Okay, now here is what the model that we've been using shows. You can see just a few scattered showers around the area at 8 p.m. It's kind of underdone. Notice that the model does not have a real good idea of what's going on over here. Okay, we just saw that on radar. There's more rain over that way. So the model is not really doing a good job with this at the present time. But it's got the general idea right. And you can see that there will be some more rainfall down here. So it looks like from Owenton to Dry Ridge to Falmouth to Brooksville to Mount Olivet to Maysville, Vanceburg, maybe West Union and Georgetown overnight, there'll be some shower activity here. The rest of us will see little or none around the tri-state. And it all begins to pull off to the south. The sky begins to clear during the day tomorrow, and we're back up into the 80s. And the European model says that there might be 3/800ths of an inch in Garrison in far eastern Lewis County, 1,600ths in West Union, 1,300ths in Georgetown, a little bit more than a quarter inch in both Mount Olivet and Maysville. And again, those are nice. They'll wet things down, they'll settle the dust a little bit, but they won't get anywhere near breaking that drought because we need so much. And look at Hillsborough, only 1/100 of an inch, and it is so dry from Hillsborough eastward in Highland County that they could use inches and inches of rainfall. That just is not yet in the forecast. 7 p.m. temperatures look like this. Now take a look at it. Here's what's really interesting. When I looked at the 5 p.m. temperatures, it was 90 in Oxford, okay, and it was like 75, if I remember correctly, at CBG because of the cloud cover. And so you can see the temperature really kind of reflects what's going on with the rainfall and the cloud cover. Falmouth, they've reported light rain. It's just ended, but they reported light rain from 325 to about 625. And the temperature dropped to 64, even though there wasn't much rain there. CVG has dropped to 70 from the middle part, lower and middle 80s around the tri-state. Notice 70, 79, 84, so it is a lot hotter as you head to the north where the cloud cover was thinner and they got more sunshine. So that varies a lot also. Okay, so let's go ahead, and the sun sets at 7:44 this evening, so you've got about 17 minutes with the sun above the horizon, dropping to 67 by 11 p.m. The overnight low about 63 degrees. Sunrise at 7:21. Roads will be dry, even though there'll be some wet spots from Owen County over to Lewis County in our southern counties. I think there'll be some wet spots or some dry, mostly dry spots around the tri-state. Okay, now here again is that drought monitor I was talking about, and again it'll be updated on Thursday. And notice the extreme drought, exceptional drought is the darkest red. And so there's part of Highland County right here in exceptional drought. That's so rare around here. Extreme drought, about half of Highland County. And then severe drought for almost all of Warren, all of Clinton, the rest of Highland. And then the same thing down here from southern Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties down into Pendleton, Grant, and Owen counties. Still has some severe drought. And when you have a pattern like this, and again, Ethan Emery did some research on this yesterday, was saying that it looks like it was the latest time we had this kind of drought was like 2007 in the tri-state. It's very rare. It's never happened before since the drought monitor was issued starting in 2000. It's not as bad as the early 1950s droughts, which they called the Little Dust Bowl or the Dust Bowl, but it is certainly not good. And we have reports of farmers in Warren County that have lost 100% of their corn crop. Okay, just think of that. That's like having a brick and mortar store and having it wiped out by a tornado and losing 100% of it. I mean, that is an economic disaster for farmers up there. So it is bad news. And all we can hope for at this point is that we see the La Nina pattern develop. We get a more active weather pattern. We end up with the typical La Nina rain pattern, which is more than normal, and we can recharge the soil moisture and start next spring off with adequate moisture, especially for farmers in that. Okay, so here's what the 6 to 10 day outlook that was issued today says. It says warmer than normal there over the Fox 19 Now viewing area. Now, it may be hard to see the color gradation there, or it might be my color blindness. But you can see if you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're in the fifth level of that. So it's significantly warmer than normal through the 27th of September, still significantly warmer than normal through the 1st of October. And when we see our temperature graph here, our forecast, do that summary graph for the next 14 days, you'll see we agree with what the Climate Prediction Center says. And this graph was issued last Friday. It'll be updated this Friday. But it is saying that, hey, it's going to be warmer than normal around here through the middle of October, all right? And the important thing about being warmer than normal is that even though the plants have shut down, you don't get as much transpiration as you head into the middle of October and things begin to settle down in the plant world, you still get evaporation. So if you get just a little bit of rainfall or about near normal rain and it falls on that dry soil, it's going to evaporate pretty quickly as the temperatures are warmer than normal. And so what we really need is cooler than normal and wetter than normal weather, and that's just not in the cards at this point. Okay, so now between the 23rd and the 27th, the Climate Prediction Center is saying a little bit wetter than normal. I don't think so. I think it's going to be near or a little bit less than normal, but there's some encouraging signs here. Okay, if you look at the forecast through the 1st of October, near normal there in the gray, and then through the 15th of October, we go back to drier than normal. So even if it's a little wetter than normal and then we go to drier than normal, we're not getting much help. We need significantly more than normal rainfall over a stretch of a couple weeks that comes down gradually enough so it can soak in, and I'm afraid that's not really in the cards. So here's your 7-day forecast. Excuse me for a second. I'll let you look at that while I take a little swig here of Diet Mountain Dew. Okay. Now my throat feels better. Okay, so the Reds play again tomorrow. There's a slight chance for a few showers tomorrow, fewer than today. Looks like it becomes partly cloudy during the day on Thursday, the high 84. Now with sunshine, it climbs to 88 on Friday. Some spots will make it to 90. 90 on Saturday, 91 on Sunday. Now we have PM chance of showers on Sunday. The latest models say maybe Sunday night into Monday. So there's a chance of getting a little bit of rain, but right now it looks like the typical warm season scattered stuff, no widespread rain, and that could last on into Tuesday as we begin a little bit of a cooling trend. Okay, here's beyond the 7-day forecast. Okay, and based on the latest models, I think we've got 4 days when we have a chance of rain. The 27th, which is Friday, and 28th, Saturday, and then again Monday and Tuesday, the 30th and the 1st of October are 4 out of 7 days we have a chance of rain. And once again, what kind of character will this rain have? It won't be the cool season, widespread soaking rain kind of thing that lasts for a couple days. It'll be hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. So through the 1st of October, we do not have a lot of hope that we're going to get much drought-busting rainfall moving into the tri-state. And here's the summary graphic of temperatures. Here are the highs, here are the lows. Put the normal lines on and you can see the 14-day stretch. We are above normal on the high side and the low side. And if we are above normal temperature-wise, that means we need more than normal precipitation just to stay even where we are right now. Okay, and it doesn't look like we've got much of that coming. Okay, time to go to this camera, and now I'm going to switch over to, Facebook page. And see what kind of comments we have. Ooh, what do we have? Oh, we've had as many as 19 people now watching on YouTube that had an average view of 1 minute and 21 seconds. So it's getting better. All right, let's go to the top and see who came in first. Susan Wally, good evening. Hi, Susan. Nice to see you. She says, come on, rain, come to Blanchester. Yeah, it just doesn't. I'm looking at radar right here. So as I'm doing this, I'm updating, I'm keeping in mind what's going on in the Great American Ballpark, and it doesn't look like anything will affect them. And I tell you what, it just doesn't look good for Blanchester. There's nothing even near you right now, and whatever is not that far away is just very light sprinkles. Okay, Amy, Amy? Says light rain here in Harrison, so Harrison's getting a little bit, and unfortunately it's probably Wayne. It'll probably just be a little bit of a dust settler, but a little bit's better than none, I guess. All right, and I just lost my page. There we go. Let's see here. Okay, and Susan, and thank you, Susan. I hadn't heard this. But there are burn bans in most locations. Even if you're in an area where there's not a burn ban, it's not a good idea to burn anything, because as dry as the grass and the brush is, that could turn into a fire that could go very far, very fast. So it's better just to say I'll wait. But Susan Wally says here, got a message from Blanchester Municipal Office. We are in extreme drought and no longer allowed to water gardens or wash cars. So that's for Blanchester in Brown County. The municipal office says extreme drought and no longer allowed to water gardens or wash cars. Okay, now here's a little interesting story. My dad and mom, for several years before they passed away, lived out on Hawthorne in Claremont County, which is not in the Eastgate, close to Eastgate. And the people that had built their house years ago, they had a 2-car garage, and everything underneath the 2-car garage was a big cistern. It just collected the water off the roof of the house. And so they one time were in a no, you can't water your lawn situation, and my dad was going ahead and he was watering but just pumping it out of the cistern, and they came around and said, you're not allowed to do that, and he had to show him the cistern, but he had, oh my gosh, he must have had a 20,000 gallon capacity, and most of the time it was full because he didn't use it until he had to. So if you have a cistern, you can do that, but I guess I'm not sure what, I know there's some area, most of the Blanchester areas on, water, you're not on cisterns, you're on water that doesn't get trucked in or coming from the rain, you have it in pipes. And so just remember that Blanchester, no car washing, no watering your gardens, and that's not good news for the garden. Paula Bennett wants the rain to come to New Vienna. Okay, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you, Paula. Stacy Leach says Gallatin County hardly got anything. So, and then Shelley Seaman said we have just gotten sprinkles in southernmost Claremont County. I know, and that was the issue with this, because here are if these are the Appalachian Mountains, we had that dry air come in from the west and settled up against the mountains and couldn't escape. Then that system, the tropical system here, came up and over the mountains, and literally the moisture from that stayed up here. Down here where we are, the air was dry, and so a lot of the rain that fell out of that moisture that came over the mountains evaporated on the way down and fell as just sprinkles, like Shelley mentioned that they had in southern Claremont County. Darren York said a little precipitation in RS. I'm trying to think of what RS is, but if you know what RS means. Darren said it did cool it off. Yeah, it did. It really did. You get a little bit. And she said Maysville had big puddles. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I didn't think they had gotten that much. I thought they got, looked like 0.2 of an inch, and I guess that's enough to cause some puddles. So that's good news. It won't be enough to bust the drought, but it's better than nothing. Rachel Turco, any chance of severe weather in the next 14 days? Nah, don't think so. I wouldn't worry about it, Rachel, at this point. I just don't see anything severe coming our way in the next 14 days. Nick Fisher wants to know when the jet stream will change and let fall temperatures in. We don't see that happening before the middle of October. So if you're talking about fall temperatures, like those nice chilly mornings and sunny but nice afternoons, that just is not in the future. And I'll give you all a guess of what Jeff Beechler wants. He said, I can't wait till cooler weather and some snow. You know what? I'd love to have some snow about right now. And Susan Wally says, I'm sick of warmer than normal. Me too. Okay. Okay, and then Shelley Seaman said, Shelley Seaman said, Brown County Fair is next week, so it will probably rain. Well, and I'm sure almost everybody at Brown County Fair would be happy to walk around at the fair in the rain. I know I would. I rode my bicycle to work yesterday, and along the parks that are on the Ohio River there in the city of Cincinnati, a couple of the sprinklers they had going weren't pointed at the vegetation, but kind of pointed at the sidewalk, and I made sure I rode through each one of them because it felt so good. Okay, Susan Wally wants to know what the record high is at this time of the year. It's still usually upper 90s to low 100s. I think, okay, what's the date today? It's the 70. I think the latest we've ever had 100 degrees was on the 9th of October. But let me look. I can look for you real quick here. As long as I can hit the right button here, go to the National Weather Service. There we go. Records for Cincinnati. And this is September 17th. Okay. Okay, September, record highs. And okay, for September, the latest we've ever had a record high at 100 is the 8th. I mentioned October before I meant September. So we've had, the latest we've had 100 is the 8th of September, and the record high on today's date, September 17th, is 94. So record highs are still in the 90s. That's the record high. The record, let's see, 17th, the record low, 41. The record low high, or the coolest high we've ever had, was 59 on this date. And the record warmest low was in 1931 at 74. And in 1958 on this date, we had 1.49 inches of rain. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, and then let's see. Who I missed a couple of people. Okay, and then Jeff Beach will say, hey, it's sprinkling in Greenfield. He's happy about that. It won't be much more than that, though, Jeff, I'm afraid. Darren York said the Sportsman's golf course greens are great, but everything else is burnt brown. Yeah, I bet it is. Garnet Rothwell said even sprinkles, not even sprinkles along Beasley Fork Creek in Adams County. And Cheyenne Erica says she loves rain without thunderstorms. You know, so do I. I mean, I like thunder. I like when you hear the thunder in the distance and that, but I love sit out on the deck when it's raining. You know, we've got a covered deck with a beer or a glass of wine or something. Just sit there and listen to the rain. I think that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Okay, let me go over the forecast and then we'll call it a night. First of all, I don't even have any idea. Okay, I thought that's what was on screen, so let's go back to the computer. I will go to the 7-day forecast and we'll review that. And unfortunately, it does not include a great deal of rainfall around the tri-state. So here we go. It's coming up right now. Okay, so tonight's low should fall off to about 63, 85 the high tomorrow. Still the slight chance of a shower. We are looking at a high of 84 on Thursday and partly cloudy. Friday, 88. 90 on Saturday, 91 on Sunday. So if you're heading down to Cincinnati to go to Oktoberfest, it's going to be hot. It's going to be dry, and it's not going to have that summertime humidity. It'll be humid enough that it's uncomfortable, but it will be pretty nice in most cases, and if you step in the shade, it'll feel really nice. And then we have that chance of showers from late Sunday into Monday, and again on Tuesday. So that is it for now. Thank you for joining me. Hope you have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow at 7:15, and we'll do this all again. And again on Thursday, we'll take a look at the new drought monitor, and hopefully we'll get some signs that jet stream is going to start to drop southward and bring us some more widespread rainfall. But that's it for now. Thank you for joining me, and have yourself a nice evening.